Hi, does this resonate with you, or can you imagine this? That one minute you're sitting and laughing with your husband or partner, and the very next, seemingly out of the blue, you're completely blindsided by his outburst. It's a whirlwind of anger and you didn't see it coming. Now, male anger in relationships can feel really unpredictable and it's terrifying for most women. And most women are unsure how to respond or protect themselves. But what you need to know is that anger always has a trigger, it's a root cause. And when you understand it, you can actually transform how you communicate with him, and it can help you de-escalate his anger. So understanding the triggers is, it's not just about preventing the arguments, but once you build that communication, he will trust that he can open up, and that often diffuses the situation. This is a standalone guide as to understanding anger triggers. And let me just reiterate from the get-go that if you ever feel physically threatened, I'm not here to tell you to tolerate aggressive or harmful behavior. You need to remove yourself from the situation straight away. So today, let me explain what male triggers are. These are situations, words, or actions that really bring out a very strong emotional reaction, and often in a really volcanic, really, a massive outburst. But what you need to know is that underneath there, that outburst is there's a deeper emotional wound. It's like a fire alarm. The alarm alerts you that there's a problem, but the real problem is the fire itself. And the fire for his anger is often dealing and flowing from unresolved and unmet emotional needs, often from childhood. That can include things like feeling respected, feeling safe, being heard, being valued, being loved. And when those needs are unmet, in men, anger often becomes like a default response. It's a shield he puts up for deeper emotions. It's like he doesn't want to feel fearful, rejected, or shamed. Let me give you an example from a client, Mike. He unbelievably, they almost got into a divorce over household chores. And Mike always felt that Sarah never recognized his efforts. It wasn't about that. It was about feeling unappreciated. And when we dove into it, Mike was carrying a wound of feeling undervalued from his youth. Whatever he did, his parents didn't recognize what he did. They didn't give him, any sort of validation. And he had a really deep need to feel respected and valued, but he didn't know how to communicate that to Sarah without feeling vulnerable. Once we looked at those, what was a really simple surface level issue, Sarah understood that simply by, making a point of saying, "Oh, thanks for doing that, doing a really good job." It was as simple as that it diffused the situation and they got on the same page very quickly. Another client of mine, Ron, he used to explode when his wife disagreed with him, sometimes over really, seemingly small things, where they're going for dinner. Turns out his father would ignore or dismiss any of his views, and he felt he was reliving it. So I told June how to look for those emotional needs rather than the behavior by involving him in their decision making. Not necessarily agreeing all the time, but just to say, listen, okay, let me know why you feel that way. Ron would just de-escalate all the time, and they actually healed their relationship. Go me. It does work. So understanding triggers is really essential, but you also need to recognize your own. Again, when a man is raising his voice, it's very common for a woman to want to snap back, and why not? Well, you don't have to put up with that behavior. If you can recognize that, you're not a child, you're actually in control of the situation. And if you pause and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively, again, that's a way to de-escalate the situation. You'll gain the power to pause, reflect, and, respond intentionally, and that will calm the situation down. So how do you manage his triggers? Because those are going to bring out, his triggers are going to bring out your own. Okay. When emotions, in a big emotional maelstrom, try and step back and do a deep breathing exercise. It can be as simple as that, inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 4 seconds. A physical reset often deals, it leads into a mental one. It enables you to just take a moment and think, well, hang on, is there a reason? Have I triggered his anger? Or is it coming from his own emotional baggage? Try, if he keeps interrupting you, instead of saying, well, you never let me talk, just say, well, look, when I feel interrupted, I feel disrespected because I feel like I'm being treated like a child. And that leads on to reframing generally. Challenge yourself to look at the situation different. If you sort of feel, well, look, I'm speaking, but he's just ignoring me because he's angry. Why not think, well, okay, he's overwhelmed. He's not expressing himself. So he's like a frustrated child. He's lashing out at me. That little shift in your perspective can turn your conflict into compassion. It's a lot, okay? And I'm not saying it's easy, but just a little bit of, reflection on how his behavior is impacting you and where it is coming from will enable you to deal with de-escalation. And that's the goal here. Because the only win you can get is by de-escalating and getting him to reflect why he's behaving so badly. That's awareness. If you recognize the unmet needs behind anger, and that can be yours as well as your husband or partner's, that empathy will trigger his emotional response. Most men who are angry really feel quite ashamed of it if they frighten a woman. I've seen that so many times. And so if you are saying, listen, there is something below this, you can be vulnerable with me. Don't shout at me because I can't deal with it, but I want to get to the bottom of it. It creates a deeper connection and understanding. So I want to give you a quick exercise that you can do. A challenge for you this week, which is to pay attention to what is triggering your husband, if you're a girl partner, if you're going through this, and see if you can identify the emotions underneath. And let me know how you've been addressing those triggers in the comments. If you need help with that, that's what I'm here for. So I'm going to show you in the next video the best way to deal with it, which is setting your own boundaries. Practical ways that you can set boundaries to keep you safe and have a safe space in a relationship. So I hope this video helps you. If it does, like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what else you need from me. I'm happy to vary what I do in order to help the community that's growing. And if you need to book a call for a deeper dive, I'm here for that too. So remember, understanding these anger triggers is just the beginning. Be watching this video. Look out for the next one on boundaries because I'm here to support you every step of the way. And I'll see you next time.